Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Hardiman. I'm the Manager of Public Affairs with the Regional Municipality Wood Buffalo. I'll be your moderator this evening for tonight's telephone town hall hosted by the municipality. A reminder, if you're on your cell phone and your call gets dropped, you can rejoin it by streaming at rmwb.ca/townhall. Before we open the line, here are the people who are here with me to answer your questions tonight. Representing Council, we have Mayor Melissa Blake. From the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, Councillor Keith McGrath and Councillor Al Binney. From the Regional Emergency Operations Centre and Municipal Administration, we have Bob Couture, Aaron O'Neill, Jamie Doyle, and Natasha Hartson. From the Canadian Red Cross, we have Jen McManus. From Alberta Health Services, we have Mayank Singhal. And from the Insurance Bureau of Canada, we have Dave McGowan and Heather Mack. Additionally, we have Inspector Lorna Dix from the Wood Buffalo RCMP, Trevor Burgeon from Service Alberta, and that's our team here tonight who will be answering your questions. To kick things off, I'd like to ask the Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture, to give us a brief update.
Good evening. Thank you all to joining us on the call tonight. The Regional Emergency Operations Center, also known as REOC, is winding down its operations as of June 30th, 2016, as the provincial state of emergency is scheduled to expire. Right now, we are integrating with the RMWB Recovery Committee in order to continue the important work of rebuilding our community. Environmental testing continues to be the top of our mind of our residents, and we are working with our partners at the province, including Alberta Health, Alberta Environment, and the development of a mapping of all the soil and ash and air testing to date, as well as answers to frequently asked questions. This information will be available on our website this week and will be updated as additional testing is complete. As we speak, we are also working with the Chief Medical Officer of Health to develop a risk mitigation strategy on how debris will be removed from Abasan, Waterways, and Beacon Hill in order to allow residents in structurally sound homes to return. This plan will address public health and safety before and during and after remediation. As more details become available, they will be provided on our website and through these town halls. I'm looking forward to taking your questions.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. Before we continue, I'd like to invite residents to submit a question by pressing *3 and giving your question to the operator. If you're online, please type your question into the question field. Before we begin with questions, I'd like to give the opportunity to Mayor Melissa Blake to make a few comments.
Thank you, and certainly the first thing I'd like to do is thank the citizens who have been able to join us on this first telephone town hall meeting that the members of council have been able to orchestrate. I'm here tonight with Councillor Al Binney and Councillor Keith McGrath, who are the new representatives, along with Councillor Sheldon Germain, for the Recovery Committee. Into the future, we expect that these telephone town halls will continue and that we will be able to channel all the questions that you have and herald the best answers that are possible. This evening, I am delighted to be able to say for the first time that we are able to gather and have this exchange or interaction and dialogue, that not only do we have this live opportunity, it will also remain available to people in our web archives, just like the council meetings that we hold on a weekly basis. I wish everyone a very safe and resilient future as together.
Operator will take your question or type your question into the question field online. So we're going to take our first question that's coming in online, and it's from John and Edna. Why can construction start on homes in non-restricted areas and not restricted ones? So I'm going to go over to Jamie Doyle, who's with our Planning and Development Department, to answer this question.
Thank you, Adam. The Chief Medical Officer of Health has provided a recommendation for the restricted areas regarding rehabilitation. We must remember that paramount activity is health and safety. For areas outside of the restricted areas, administration is working on a comprehensive information package so as homeowners can make the most informed decision regarding options to demolish and clean up their property.
Well, thanks very much, Jamie. That's great to hear. And so we're going to continue with our online calls right at the moment. Lots of people calling in, but definitely a lot of online ones as well. So this question is coming in from Mark, coming in online. Will the RMWB, or the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, determine the future of the restricted areas before September 30th, 2016. I'll send this to the Recovery Committee. I think you're probably best to answer it. So I can start with Councillor Vinnie if you'd like to take that.
Thanks, Adam. One always has to be careful not to overpromise in these situations, but I believe that the decision on the rebuild strategy in every area of the region will be known before the end of September, hopefully a fair bit earlier than that. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Vinnie. And like I said, we have many questions that are coming in online currently, so we're going to continue that right now. This one's coming in from Rizala. When does full transit service start? I think I'll take this. I'm looking around the table at administration, and we did have transit throughout the beginning of the reentry process. I know that we're gearing up for July 4th return to a more full service. It might look a little bit different, and that's based on some of the feedback we had since the service came in-house, as well as some engagement we did before the wildfire event. So we're looking at July 4th. I know that communication will be forthcoming this week. We're just finalizing those details and what that system will look like. So to take that question for you, that's what we're looking at, July 4th after the long weekend, and we'll communicate that later this week. Thank you. Like I said, a bunch of questions coming online. So this one's coming in from Yvonne. Do we have to pay property taxes this year? I'm going to send that one over to, putting on his senior administration hat, our Executive Director, Bob Couture.
Council. At that time, we decide the council upon what the process will be, and that bylaw will be presented tomorrow evening, and you're encouraged to participate in council tomorrow evening of the results of that.
Well, thank you very much, sir, and we'll move on to our next question as well. This one's from John, coming in online again. His home is in Beacon Hill. It is still standing. When will contractors be allowed in to make repairs? So I'm going to send this again to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture, who's going to take this for us.
Again, thank you, Adam, for that question. As there is restricted area, access to that restricted area is allowed between the hours of 8 a.m. in the morning and 8 p.m. in the morning. If you as a resident have repairs that you wish to have done to your home, you're more than willing at this time to have those contractors come in and ensure that your home is repaired and maintained.
Thank you very much, and we'll keep going here. Like I said, we have a lot of great questions that are coming in online, and we're making sure to get them off the queue here. We know we got people waiting on the phone, but we'll stick with our online questions just for now. This question is coming in from Jason. He lives in Avisan. However, the Red Cross support is in Fort McMurray. He's currently living in Wandering River, has not returned to the community. Are there other stations for those set up out of time? So I'm going to send this over to Jen with the Red Cross, although,
hi, Adam.
Jen, are you with us?
Yes, hi. Thanks for the question, Adam and Jason. So, Jason, we have been doing outreach with our Red Cross teams to Wandering River. It's my understanding that those outreach teams are still in the vicinity and in the community area of Wandering River. So, yes, we will continue to support those evacuees from Wood Buffalo who are not back on a voluntary reentry basis to Fort McMurray through our outreach teams. Thanks for the question.
Well, thank you so much, Jen, and it's a great answer for our resident. We are going to move on to another online question here. This one's from Sharon. When will capital projects be reinstated? We have a small paving company and need the asphalt plant to open so we can try and salvage the season. So it's a question about capital projects. When will they resume? I'm going to send it to our Executive Director, Bob Couture.
with our capital program.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. Sorry, we had a technical difficulty there, so we'll move on to another question here that's coming online. And this one's coming in from Darren. What is the process for applying for a permit for debris removal? Is there a list of qualified people for the debris removal? We're going to send that one over to Jamie Doyle, once again, our Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you, Adam. For any permit application, you can go onto our website, www.rmwb.ca. Under the Municipal Services tab, you'll find an e-permitting link. You can go on there and apply online for any type of permit you require, or you could visit us in person at 309 Powder Drive, and we'll sit and go through the application with you.
Well, that's excellent, Jamie. Thank you very much. And like I said, we have a variety of questions coming in online, so we're just going to continue here. This question is coming in from Dawn. What's the holdup getting the boil water advisory lifted in Gregoire? When can we join the rest of the community and start drinking the water from the tap? We're going to head back over to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture, to take that question.
Thank you again, Adam. We've been doing a lot of work on that process, and I'm looking forward that we'll be able to have an announcement early next week in regards to Gregoire, and then that will be further out into Anzac and Sapere Creek next week, the following week there afterwards. So we're making some great progress on that, and the rationale why it's taken so long is that we've had some broken lines, and that we have to flush all the lines, repair the lines, and clear the reservoirs also. So we're making good progress on that.
Well, thank you very much to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture. Like I said, Wood Buffalo, Fort McMurray being such a young community, so many questions coming in online. So we're just going to keep going because that's where the majority of our questions are right now. This one's coming in from Marcel. His question is, once after June 30th, will I be able to access my house that is in Abasand currently? So we're going to assume, Marcel, that you're, based on your question, that you're referring to a green home that's in the area in Abasand.
After June 30th, that will still be able to access your home at the 8 time limit, so 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening. And the recovery committee may adjust those times as the debris field is scheduled for removal. But for right now, we can forecast that you'll still have access to your home between 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. We're going to continue on here with another question. Lots of engagement here with residents coming in online. This one's from Fraser. Were samples for toxic ash taken from Wood Buffalo, Sapere Creek, and Prospect Point? Or was Beacon Hill, Abasand, and Waterways the only areas sampled? So do you want to go to, once again, our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture, to take this question?
Samples for ash were taken from all of the sites within the municipality, Abasand, Beacon Hill, Waterways, Wood Buffalo, Stony Creek, Parsons Creek, and Sapere Creek, and Zach.
Thank you very much, and hope that answers your question sufficiently. Certainly, we're going to move on as our questions continue to come in online. So, my apologies. We're actually going to go live back to the phones as we've rectified a little bit of our technical difficulty. This question is going to be from Andy.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, Andy, how you doing?
Not too bad. I'm just wondering, you guys are giving all information about Beacon Hill and Waterways and everything, but nothing north of the river. what's happening north of the river? We got burnt out there also, and we're not getting no information on it. I would sure like to know, about Morgan Heights and Wood Buffalo in that area.
Well, Andy, thank you very much for your question. I'm going to go to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture.
In regards to sampling, those samples have been taken throughout the city, Wood Buffalo, Parsons Creek, and Stony Creek, along with Abbott Sands waterways and Beacon Hill. So all those samples have been taken. We're trying to treat the area as consistent across the field. And hopefully we've done the complete sampling on phase 2, and those samples will be out shortly and posted on the RMWB website along with the GOA website.
Well, thank you so much, Bob, and we're going to continue on here. This is a question for Mike. Mike, are you with us on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Go ahead, Mike, with your question.
I appreciate the point of the last caller about not hearing much about Stone Creek as well. I have 3 properties actually in the Stone Creek area that I lost. So my question is in regards to all areas, though, where lost homes are. Is there any thought, because I haven't heard any talk or any discussion up to this point, about whether or not we could try to look at putting some of the federal or provincial money into the cleanup of the lots? We all know when we're saying insurance is going to cover it, but it ties into people's rebuild costs, and myself included, we're all going to have to basically sacrifice part of rebuilding our homes to clean up the lots. So is there any talk or any discussion on the government trying to help us out with cleaning up these areas so we don't have to sacrifice on the rebuild of our homes?
Well, thank you, Mike. Obviously, that's an excellent question. We're going to send that over, actually, to the Insurance Bureau of Canada to take a stab at that for you. Thank you.
Mike, thanks very much. The part of the overall rebuild of your home does include the cost for debris removal. I don't know that there's a real role for government to step in to cover those costs, because they are a very legitimate part of the rebuild. You're quite right. For some homeowners, the cost of rebuild is included in the overall allocation that you have to rebuild the homes. It's also why we're trying to find, the simplest, most direct, most cost-effective way to do that for residents of Fort McMurray.
Well, thank you so much, David, from the Insurance Bureau of Canada for that comprehensive answer. We're going to move on to Jay. Jay, are you with us on the phone?
Yeah, I am.
How you doing?
I am, yep. Not bad. How you doing?
Go right ahead with your question, sir.
Okay, I was just wondering, this is my situation, so I'm sure other people are in the same one. I'm displaced. I was in Abbotsand. My place was burnt down, and I was renting without tenant insurance. I had heard sort of through the grapevine that there was a program possibly being put together for people in that situation, and was just curious if there was any truth to that. If not, if that would be considered.
Thank you so much, Jay, for your question. I'm actually going to send that to Jen McManus at the Red Cross for an answer.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for the question. The Red Cross is actually here to work alongside of residents in that particular situation whereby they did not have tenants insurance and coverage for this situation. So I would encourage you, Jay, to reach out to the Red Cross team located at the Future Forward location in Fort McMurray. If you're outside of Fort McMurray, we have staff and volunteers working out of our Edmonton office and outreach teams in Lac-La-Biche. So yes, please come and meet with us. We'd like to talk to you about your personal situation. Thanks so much. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you for that, Jen. Of course, thank you to the Red Cross for all their support throughout this process. Going to move on to Matthew, if you're with us. Matthew, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, sir, go right ahead.
I'm here. My question is, I put in my debris permit application today, and I am just wondering what the process is going forward, and will the city uphold normal timelines of development permits and building permits, or should I expect excessive timelines trying to get the building process started.
Well, thank you very much, Matthew, for the question. I'm going to send that to our Director of Planning and Development, Jamie Doyle.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Matthew, for that great question. We're working really hard to finalize the information package so homeowners can make the best informed decision of how they move forward with their debris removal. The most important goal to ensure is to ensure public health and safety here. I really ask for your patience during this time, and as soon as we can get that information package out, we'll get it out to you residents. It will be as efficient as possible. However, we want to make sure that we don't compromise that health and safety, as I mentioned earlier.
Well, thank you very much, Jamie. And just before we move into some more questions, if you're just joining us, my name is Adam Hardiman. I'm the Manager of Public Affairs with the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo. You're joining us for tonight's telephone town hall hosted by the municipality, as we're joined by a number of stakeholders across the table here to answer your questions. So we're going to move back onto the phone. Paula, are you there? Hi, do we have Paula on the line?
Hi.
Hi, Paula. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm doing good. I'm in Edmonton. I'm just wondering about the hospital in Fort Mac. You know, if it's fully, up in par with blood work and surgeries and stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. We're going to send that over to our good partners with the Alberta Health Services for an answer.
Thanks, Paula. This is David Mateer. I'm the Senior Operating Director at Northern Lights Regional Health Centre. In terms of ramping up our surgical capability, we are currently performing emergent and urgent surgeries. We are expanding that into some elective surgeries on July 4th and then fully elective surgeries on July 18th, which may even be slightly earlier than that, and we'll keep everyone updated. The delay in doing those elective surgeries is so that we can arrange for physicians and plan their schedules, as well as going through all of the waiting lists and ensuring that we understand the needs of all of our patients on the waiting lists and prioritize those needs.
Well, thank you very much, and we're going to continue right along here. Tim, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, sir, go right ahead.
Okay, I'm a resident of Abasand, and I'm fortunate enough to have a house that stands and will require minimal work to get it back to livable condition. I'm just wondering if there's anyone who has any idea when I can leave my fifth wheel in that beautiful Abraham's land and come back and live in my neighborhood again. If there's kind of a ballpark out there, if anybody's done any thinking in terms of timetable.
Going to send that one, and thank you so much for the question. Sorry, Tim, I'm so eager to get you an answer here. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, so thanks so much. Going to send it to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture.
Tim, thank you for the question. So just to again explain that, is that the Abasand, Beacon Hill, and Waterways, through the recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, have been restricted areas. And we are working collaboratively now with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Alberta Health Services, Environment, Alberta, to come up with mitigation strategies of how we can have the residents return to those residents. And we're continuing to work that process out, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to have a very strong answer of a possible date for you. So we are working hard to have residents return to those communities in a safe fashion.
Thank you very much for that answer, Bob. And just to remind our residents who are calling in, if you've joined us, you've been with us the whole time, you do want to ask a question, press *3 on your phone's keypad and give the question to our wonderful operators. If you're joining us online, please type your question into the question field. Our next question actually comes in online. I'm going to read it out here. Our second Paula of the evening. Will residents still under the boil water advisory be supplied with potable water? I guess I'll send that as well to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture.
With those areas of Gregoire and Anzac and Sapere Creek, we're working very hard to get that boil water advisory lifted. And as I stated earlier, in Gregoire, we're probably looking at the next couple of days that will be lifted. And then Anzac, Sapere Creek within the next week or so. The advice again is that the water can be consumed as long as it is boiled for at least 1 minute on a rolling boil, so the water is safe to be consumed at that time. So, and again, we're not supplying bottled water, but however, the water can be consumed if it is boiled for 1 minute.
Well, thank you so much for that, Bob. We're going to go back to the phone lines now. Rebecca, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead with your question.
Yes, hi. My name is Rebecca, and I'm giving you a call today as a business owner. I am having a hard time getting a business license, as the business license that I was using, I can't be in that location. So to transfer my business license to a different location where we're actually working, I'm having a hard time getting from the city.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. We know that's a question. Sorry, you were still going there. Sorry about that. Rebecca, thanks so much for the question. We know that's a question that's on a lot of business owners' minds and people in the community. I'm going to send that again to our Director of Planning and Development, Jamie Doyle.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Rebecca. I'm sorry to hear you're having some difficulties transferring your business license. Unfortunately, I don't know the details of your application, but if you send your name and phone number, we'll get back to you and I'll have a look into your business license.
Well, thanks so much, Jamie, for that. We're going to continue on the phone. Mohammed, are you with us?
Hello?
Mohammed, are you still with us on the phone, sir?
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for everyone. You guys are doing so much for us. I just have a question. I just applied the EI, unemployment insurance benefit, when I was in shelter in Edmonton. So I'm just wondering when are you able to get that benefits? Please and thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Mohammed. We know that employment insurance, and we're sorry to hear about everything that's happened, is under federal jurisdiction. So we are going to send that to Service Alberta, Trevor Burgeon, who's on the line, to take that question for us.
Hi there. I had a bit of technical issues earlier, so I hope everybody can hear me on the line. I think because I don't have the details of your specific case, I think what would probably be best if you sent in your contact information to our email site at the wildfire recovery website, and we could forward it to an individual who could get back to you with that information. The website is www.wildfire-recovery.alberta.ca, and if you send your information in, we'll be able to get someone to help you out. Thanks so much.
I want to thank you, Trevor, for that comprehensive response. We're going to keep going on the phone lines now. Steve, are you out there with us?
Yeah, I am.
Thank you for joining us. Go right ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, I think this is more for the insurance corporation. I had a trailer in one of the parks, and it was totally destroyed. Yet leading up to that time, I and many, many others were told flat out if we lived in these trailers, we could not get it insured. The question is with others that could insure, is A, why, and then B, is there any sort of program for recovery for those people?
Thank you so much, Steve, for your question. We're going to send this to IBC, the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Heather, who's with us today.
Hi, thanks for the question, Steve. I'm really sorry to hear that you're in that situation. We'd probably need a bit more detail about your situation as to why insurance wasn't available to you. Probably the best option would be for you to call our consumer center in Edmonton. It's 1-844-227-5422. But unfortunately, I'm not aware of anything that is available for the uninsured right now other than contacting the Red Cross or talking to Alberta Works. But I would like to follow up on exactly what the situation was, so I hope you'll give us a call tomorrow. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm actually going to ask Jen McManus from the Canadian Red Cross as well, if she'd like to weigh in on the question there from our resident.
Thanks, Adam. Absolutely. So what I'd like to say is please reach out to the Red Cross. We are here to bridge and assist in situations whereby other policies are kicking in or adjudications happening. So we go by a case-by-case basis. So I would ask that you reach out to a Red Cross staffer, either in Fort McMurray or in Edmonton, and then we can assist on a private, confidential, one-on-one talk with you about your situation. Thanks, Adam.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to continue on the phone lines here. This question is from Misty. Misty, are you there?
I sure am. So I actually have two questions. So the first one is in regards to how safe it is to be walking, biking, whatnot. For example, in the area like Real Mountain Drive where there's a lot of damage, is that still safe to do so? And my second question is actually for the Red Cross, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I still haven't received the initial money or the reentry money after a lot of contact.
Well, thank you so much, Misty. We'll get your second question there in just a minute. I know your first question was health-related, so I'm going to send that to Mayank Singhal, who's with Alberta Health Services.
I'm sorry, Adam. I had to step away from the phone. Can you repeat that question for me?
Yeah, I believe the first question was about general health and safety in the area. And, for walking and running and being active in the Fort McMurray and the Wood Buffalo region, if you could just speak to, what a resident could expect to see in terms of their health and safety.
Right. Actually, I'm going to forward that question to Dominique Joseph, who is in attendance over there. Dominique, are you there?
Yes, I am here. So with relation to how safe it is to go out and walk near the heavily hit areas, we ask the public to use all precautions necessary to walk in those areas. We have been providing information in our return to home package stating what PPE to use, and that is documented and can be found in our website under Alberta Health Services and Environmental Public Health Wildfire Resources. But once again, we want to emphasize on safety, ensuring that proper PPE is used in those heavily hit areas if need be to be in this particular area.
Well, thank you very much. And I know you had a second part to your question, is there, and it was for Jen McManus at the Red Cross. So I'll just allow Jen to weigh in.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Misty, for your question. And first, I just want to convey a sincere apology that you have not received your initial financial assistance from the Canadian Red Cross. By your question, you are now back at home, so you have already re-entered. I've got your number, Misty, from the call-in, or from us calling you actually for this town hall, and I am going to call you first thing tomorrow morning and look into your case personally. So again, thanks for bringing this to my attention, and we are getting through the electronic fund transfers of close to 88,000 people plus, and so thanks for your patience, and I will look into your case right away. Thanks.
Well, thanks very much for that. And again, people on the line are residents and people joining us from around the region and those who are still not back in the region. This is the telephone town hall hosted by the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo. I'm Adam Hardiman, the Manager of Public Affairs, here to answer your questions alongside a number of our stakeholders. We're going to move forward. We're with Ariana, who's on the phone. Ariana, go right ahead.
Yeah, my question is around the restricted access bylaw that the RMWB Council is working on passing. I live in a home that's still standing in a completely devastated condo complex where there's only 12 units left. And I want to make sure that we'll still be able to access those homes even though they have red tags on the door after the provincial restriction lifts and the municipal one takes effect.
Thanks so much, Ariana, for the question, and we're going to send that over to Bob Couture, our Director of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Ariana. Again, with the restricted bylaw, there are plans that have to be developed in those areas. And then after the 30th of when the emergency order is lifted by the province, it falls into the municipality, and we have to develop those plans that will be designed for those specific areas, whether it's Beacon Hill, Sapere Creek, or waterways.
Well, thanks very much for that. And actually, I'm going to turn to, as a secondary part of the question, turn things over to Councillor Al Vinny with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee.
Thanks, Adam. Hey, Ariana. We're currently now, as Mr. Couture said, working with his team in transition and looking at what we can do with respect to getting people access to what we're referring to as green homes. I don't know necessarily if yours is classified as that or not, but that is a key thing we're looking at right now, is making a plan that fits around the overall cleanup plan, which of course is being driven by the health and safety concerns and satisfying the Chief Medical Officer of Health that once the cleanup is done or while the cleanup is being done, what type of access can be granted to people who have standing homes. So we are applying a lot of resources to figuring out what the best options are for that going forward from tomorrow for the next couple of months. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Councillor Vinny, and thank you, Bob, as well, for the first part of the question. Again, if to ask a question, if you're with us out there, press *3 on your phone's keypad and give your question to one of our great operators. Or if you are joining us online this evening, please type your question into the question field. We're going to move on to another question coming in from the phone. Chris, are you with us?
Hi there. Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello there.
Right ahead, sir. Hello.
I want to know why we are taking so long or continuing to take so long to run testing, and why we can't start remediation based on worst case scenario immediately. We're about to lose an entire construction season at this rate, and people's insurance and additional living is going to run out before we ever have a home reconstructed.
I'm going to go to Mayor Melissa Blake on this.
Hi, Chris. Thanks so much for the question. Certainly one of the things that we've been ever mindful of is how important it is to get people into re-entry as quickly as possible. When we look at the necessity of allowing for people to have access to their foundations, that they're able to sift and see if there's any salvageables that are left there, we have carried out a process that's allowed that up until July the 1st. It's not that we've been idle in the back seat. We've been trying again to encourage the ability for people to get permitting, the permitting for debris clearance and removal organized here at the municipalities. We heard in response to an earlier question. And one of the things that we were hopeful of is that we would be able to expedite things by utilizing some of the lessons learned in previous experiences, like in Slave Lake, wherein if we have a bulk method of trying to go through neighborhood debris removal and the remediation, we should be able to see expedition. So I just wanted to give the overview on that. But frankly, the efforts that are going on utilizing the collective approach with industry, that might give the turnkey solution. When we look then to homeowners that would like to do things that are independent, the municipality is trying to, I guess, figure out all of the things that they should take into consideration. Again, from an earlier call, you've heard that the more that some homeowners spend, will have less ability to do the rebuild and composite. So again, all of these hurdles are just a part of the journey that we're taking right now and overcoming them as we go. But I'm pretty sure that the IBC folks in the room will be able to talk to when the bigger process might be able to happen, if you don't mind.
Thanks, Mayor. We certainly expect that that the coordinated debris removal program will be ready to launch in early July. As you said, some of the gates to get there, the sifting has to end. We want to make sure that all of the homeowners have approved the use of either the coordinated approach or their own contractor. So we expect that we'll be able to get this process launched in early July as soon as the sifting and other requirements are finished.
Well, thank you very much, David, and thank you, Mayor Blake, for your response. We're going to remind everybody as we continue here through the hour, we do have 15 minutes remaining, so if you'd like to ask a question, please press *3 on your phone's keypad and give your question to the operator. If you're joining us online, please type your question into the question field. We're going to stay on the phone. Charlene, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go right ahead with your question. Thanks for joining us.
I have a question. And fortunately, our backyard was used for an access road, so it's now connecting our neighbors. And we have trees laying down our yard due to the whatever they use, dozer or whatever. And I'm just wondering if we're now responsible to clean up all the trees and debris that's laying in the backyard.
Well, thanks so much, Charlene. I think I got the gist of your question. I apologize. We did have some maybe some difficulties there. You did cut in and out, so I will. I believe I heard what you said, so I'm going to read it out and then we'll answer the question if that's okay. So thanks again for joining us, having a question for us. Charlene, I believe out in Sapere Creek, she had some trees laying in her yard from the firefighting efforts that took place out there. Does the RMWB, would we be responsible, would the municipality be responsible for cleanup, or would that go to the resident? Send that over to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture.
That's one of the continuing efforts in regards to the Fire Smart program and remediating the community, and that includes all our communities, whether it's Abasam, Beacon Hill, Stony Creek, Anzac, and Waterways. That's part of the Fire Smart program, and that will be continuing out into that community.
Thank you, Bob. I'm actually going to send the question over as well to Heather with IBC.
Thanks. I just wanted to add that if you do have damage from trees or things that were taken down for firefighting efforts, you should speak to your insurer. Not every insurance policy covers tree debris, but some do, and it's worth asking the question because any damage to your home that was caused by firefighting, this is one of the very few times where insurance pays for intentional damage. So be sure to reach out to your insurer and see if there is coverage available to you. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Heather and Bob, for that answer. We're going to stay on the phone now. Mo, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead with your question, sir.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out why 5 steps from my driveway on Shellstone Way up in Timberley, you need a full-on suit, a mask, but the 7 duplexes that are still up, you don't. I mean, I understand it's restricted access, but I don't see any timelines or I have no idea.
Well, thank you, Mo, so much for the question. I'm going to send it back over to Bob Couture, Director of Emergency Management.
Thank you for your question. Just to be clear on the recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, individuals that are going into their green homes or their pink homes, the recommendations there, again, is to have closed shoes, long pants, long sleeve shirt, and a Nitrex gloves and an I-95 mask, and particularly removing items from your home, etc. And that is also, again, to those individuals that are involved in the sifting program, that is through our program, that are working in the sites, our contractors working in the sites behind the security fence. Then the recommendation, again, is to wear the full protective equipment, Tyvek suit, regulator mask, and boots and gloves, etc. So there is some differences there, but again, those are people that are actually working in the field, working behind the fence, and those people that are entering into their green homes or their pink homes, again, it's the recommendation of the Chief Medical Officer of Health to wear protective equipment.
Thanks very much, Bob. We're going to move things along. We're going to stay on the phone. Belinda, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead with your question.
My question is, I cannot return to my position at Suncor because I have a special needs son, and I would like to know when services will be reestablished in Fort McMurray, allowing me to return to my job. And 2, my daughter will not be with me, so he's going to require full services in order for me to return to my work.
Belinda, thank you so much for the question. I'm going to go to Erin O'Neill, our Chief of Planning.
Thanks, Adam, and thanks, Belinda, for your question, and I apologize that you have not been able to re-enter into Fort McMurray yet. We are working with all of our service providers to bring them back to town, including daycares and additional needs service providers, and we do expect many of them to open in July, so you should see those up and coming shortly, and the municipality has been releasing news releases on their updates, so if you want to check the website, you can see some of when those service providers will be up and running.
Thank you so much, Erin. We're going to keep going on the phones. We have about 10 minutes remaining in the call approximately. So I'm going to go to Melanie. Melanie, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I have a question for Alberta Health. I live in a home on Walnut Crescent that was pink slipped because the house next door to me burned down. And publicly, Alberta Health had announced that houses that were pink slipped would be tested for air quality. We had an Alberta Health inspector come to our home and do a walkthrough. Basically, all they did was a visual walkthrough of our home, and the report I have states nothing more than I could put in a report if I had walked through the home. So my question is, why was it publicly stated that houses, first of all, why were houses pink slipped? Just to do a visual walkthrough. And second of all, why was it publicly stated that houses that were pink slip would be tested for air quality when that wasn't actually done?
Thanks so much for the question. We're going to send that to our partners at AHS, Alberta Health Services. Mayank, are you there?
Yep. Dominique?
Yes, hi, Melanie. Sorry that you had been misled that way. Sorry that you felt that way. Essentially, our inspectors do not conduct air, water, or soil testing as part of private home inspections. Inspectors will assess the homes for water damage and for general damage to building materials, and we also provide recommendations to the homeowner regarding suggested remediation following the inspection. Some of the information that we also have put together is means by which you can hire an environmental consultant to come in and to do the assessment. As per you stated, air quality testing would be one of them. Once again, this information is also available on our website, and we also have inspectors that can provide you with that document if you cannot readily access it online.
Well, thank you so much for that. We're going to move along now to Sherry. Sherry, are you with us on the phone?
Yeah, I sure am. My question is very similar to some of the other people's. We live right across from the burn in Wood Buffalo area on Warren Road. And so we too are concerned about the air quality because people right across the street sifting through the materials are wearing all the hazmat stuff, but we live right across the street trying to get our houses back in order, trying to live our lives. And, you know, we're not sure about the quality of the air. We're not allowing our daughter and our granddaughter to come back to town until we're sure. I'm just curious, is there going to be testing done in these areas, like at our area, Parsons Creek area, where there is significant damage, but it doesn't seem like it's getting the attention of those other closed areas, which I understand, but it's very concerning.
Well, thank you, Sherry, so much for your question, and certainly hear what you're saying. We're going to send that over to Bob Couture, Director of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Sherry, for your question. So the first round of testing, phase one of the testing was done within the region with the communities Wood Buffalo and Anzac, Waterways, Beacon Hill. So that was the first round of testing, and all those testing results have been posted onto the GOA website that you can make reference to. In addition to that, we're doing the second phase of testing now that is extensive throughout the region, all of the communities, Anzac, Sapere Creek, Waterways, Beacon Hill, Stony Creek, and Wood Buffalo. Those test results are presently being underway and being analyzed, and that we hope to have those test results made public probably within the first week of July. That's the date that we're looking at. Then there will be a third round of testing that will take place, and that is after the remediation has taken place, testing soil samples to ensure that the soil is not contaminated. And this, again, will support the rebuilding process within the community. So there's 3 phases of testing. Phase 1 that has been done. Phase 2 is just being completed. And Phase 3 yet to be completed.
Thank you very much, Bob. And we're going to go back to our online questions here. This question is from John. His home is still standing in Beacon Hill. He's asking, when will contractors be able to come in and make repairs? Send that back to our Director of Emergency Management, Bob Couture.
Thank you, John. And again, the restricted areas, Abassan, Waterways, and Beacon Hill, you as a resident have access to that from 8 in the morning until 8 p.m., and that if you have repairs, contractors that you want to get in to have those repairs completed, you're more than welcome to do so, and we welcome that. We want to be ensured that your home is repaired and kept safe and in good repair when you return to it.
Well, thank you very much, Bob, and we're going to go back to the phone lines now. Audrey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Audrey. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. My question is, I lived in Abassan in the condo area, and of course the place is gone. And I put my name on the list to go through the ashes, but nobody has called me yet. And the end of the month is coming, and I'm just concerned that it's not going to happen. And I would really like to have it done just for closure purposes. I lost my home and my little dog as well. So I would just like to know if that's going to happen before the end of the month.
Well, thank you so much, Audrey. We're so sorry to hear about everything you lost on a number of levels. I'm going to send that to Bob Couture, our Director of Emergency Management.
Yeah, thank you. And again, we're sorry for the loss of your residents and more importantly, the loss of your pet. We understand that. So I think we're referring to 201 Abassan Drive, a large condominium aspect. And the issues that we found there is that's a large commercial area, and that area is structurally unsafe due to large standing objects and the concrete that it's constructed with. And we would love to see that the sifting efforts take place in there. But it is too dangerous to do sifting within that residence. And structural engineering has indicated that, along with supported by the condo board, and it's an unfortunate set of circumstances that we cannot control.
Thank you so much, Bob. And nearing the end of our hour here, we're going to have one more question before we wrap things up. So we will, before we get to that last question, I'd like to take one final opportunity to thank our residents, thank our partners for joining us here tonight. We expect this to be part of a regular process going forward, and thank everybody for being with us as we answer your questions. So our final question on the phone, we're going to go to Janet. Janet, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead with your question.
Thank you. I was just wondering, our house is still standing in Abassan, and currently our RV is up there, and I'm just wondering if it's going to be safe to leave it there while the cleanup is going on.
Thank you so much for the question, Janet. We're going to send that over to our friends with the Insurance Bureau of Canada.
Thank you, Janet. One of the things we expect to happen in the coordinated cleanup is that there will be real-time environmental testing, so that as the debris is being removed, air quality will be tested, and that one of the requirements for the contractor who will be doing the work is that contractor will be required to meet all whatever environmental requirements are needed. So I think the process of cleanup will ensure that not just your RV but the neighborhood is safe.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, that was our last question of the evening. We again want to thank all of our residents for joining us, the thousands of you that joined us on the phone and joined us online here tonight as we move through this process as a community. we'll announce tonight that we will continue this next Monday at 7 p.m. Again with another telephone town hall, where you'll be able to have all your questions answered as best as we possibly can. If you have any other additional questions, you can always visit us at rmwb.ca, on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, or call the Pulse line at 780-743-7000. Again, I'm Adam Hardman, Manager of Public Affairs with the municipality. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll speak with all of you again very, very soon. Thank you very much.